Can you tell me what the difference between a dantian and a chakra is?
They can technically be considered the same, yet the chakras are more differentiated to the psychological aspects of life, and the dantians are more generated towards different levels of energy aspects of life. So the dantians are pretty much heavenly filled buckets that you fill up,
Reservoirs,
and then you can pretty much throw each bucket into each other, and then let the top bucket flow to the very bottom one, and you can keep that cycle going like an endless string. But when you're comparing them and you're looking at them, you can kind of still have the 3 lower chakras as the lower dantian, the 3 higher chakras as the upper dantian, and then the 7 through however much your system goes to as the top dantian, and you can kind of still see it as that. It's just that when you're talking about dantian, you're also talking about sources of energy, and well, goes for every system actually. When you're talking about chakras, you should still be talking about energy, but a lot of times people just use chakras just for psychological uses, which is good because those psychological uses getting right. Yeah, when those get aligned, it should be more energy regardless. So you can use both, but so the thing with both,
you can't build power in chakras necessarily as well.
If you looked at it like it was the dantian,
you looked at it like
so a lot of people just try to like align their chakras, but they never try to build power with their chakras like you can with the dantians. So if you combine the two, you can align the chakras and build power with the chakras, or you can align your dantians and build power with your dantians. It just depends on if you're looking at it from the holistic perspective or not. The holistic perspective shows that there's that kundalini that they both use, that kunda buffer that they both use, and there's a process of going up, and then only certain sects there's a process of going back down the kundalini, but at least in most of the yogic texts they're at least going up, and so that's pretty much the same process of inner alchemy.
So the qigong is important because it works with the heavenly and the descending.
The qigong is a lot of the qigong, at least most of it that we know of in the modern world, is actually more the descending. You're allowing the water just to flow rather than trying to go against the grain. It's not until you actually allowed enough water to flow down is that first bucket actually even filled in qigong. Then you can start working upwards after that first bucket is filled.
Sinking.
So that's where there's sinking the chi. So there's a differentiation that allows a certain level of groundedness in qigong that yoga doesn't lack. It's just in the modern world, a lot of yoga is not holistic, so they're just blasting.
And a lot of teachers don't even know, they're not going as deep as the old teachers.
No, there's no lineage. A lot of people aren't connected to lineage, and they're not connected to seeing things from a full cipher, as in like the whole world, how all the religions and all the sects are pretty much merged in some type of unified way. So you do get a good amount of grounding when you do the qigong, because you're allowing the drips to come down from the water path first, and then you're like, okay, so everything's going down to gravity. That means I'm going down into the earth more, and I get to feel the earth more and get to feel my weight more, and then I get to work up that weight from already. It's a very subtle thing, like pretty much like in the yoga or breath work, you can like feel pretty like ecstatic if you do it every single day for 7 days. You're feeling super ecstatic.
Right.
But for a qigong, it might take 6 months before you actually feel ecstatic. But you get to see that in time-to-time interactions. If somebody triggers like something against your nerves that you're used to in your subconscious mind, you might be able to see like, oh, I might not be feeling like super high as I would if I just did like 7 days of yoga, but somebody just tried me and my nerves had no reaction like they usually would. And so you have a little bit of difference.
You get some benefits
immediately. especially after 7 days of qigong, those benefits start working their way. I usually tell people 6 weeks is what it takes to start the flowering process. Like pretty much like when you plant a seed in some type of soil, before it ever pops out of that sprout, it usually takes 6 weeks of daily types of qigongs for you to actually like witness, like, wow, I'm getting blissed out. Where if you went to a yoga retreat in 7 days, you're just like blasting up.
Right.
Eventually you're gonna get blissed out. You're gonna like hit some type of like crown opening, and But when we're talking about longevity and building these Dantians, instead of just blasting open the Kundalini, it's slow drips, because you get to add and pack in consciousness rather than just like blast out of consciousness. What was your next question?
I freaking like answered it.
I might have answered it
during
exactly.
the channeling.
Yeah, I feeling like
questions
this,
answered. Yep. All right. Well, I was gonna mention that. So in the dripping or the sinking, it's filling.
Yeah.
So the sinking is the key, because I think a lot of people, they get into the Dantian breathing, and they think it's just pulling up from the earth, Nobody ever talks about sinking.
No.
Bringing it from the yang or the
Yeah.
shin, right?
Yeah.
Sinking the shin.
Yeah. You're sinking the yi, the intention, into the Dantian. And even where people even think the Dantian is, they think it's like in the front of their stomach. It's actually it's in the Kundalini. It's right in the front side of the Kundalini, like at the very bottom of the Kundalini. It's right there. And so it's right in the middle of your whole abdomen. So you're like working with the front and the back, right? In between the water and the fire, right there. Not at the belly button right here, but right there. And you're sinking the chi by sinking the yi, which is the intention, because yi dao, chi dao, where your intention goes, energy flows. And so you're sinking there, and your Dantian, your lower Dantian is only a field. You really don't have a Dantian until you actually build it. So it's like the size of your pinky at first,
Right.
of like pretty much like an etheric magnetic portal right there.
Right.
And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build it up and up and up and make it bigger and bigger to the size of a $quarter or a 50
And that's
cent.
when you're punching through concrete.
Not
or
yet.
Doing crazy.
Not yet. No.
Oh.
Not yet. Definitely not yet. That comes from
It's like, chill,
that.
lad. It's not your time
Yeah.
yet. Just relax.
Not yet. So you want to fill it up to like 100%, which would be about this big. And what you would get from that is a certain level of health, a certain level of like vitality, a certain level of like, okay, I'm walking day to day and my chi is sunk. Like nobody can push like life can't push my emotions anywhere. Like my emotions are down here. Like pretty much chi wants to rise at all times. And when your Dantian is actually created, you actually have a Dantian instead of just a field. Because like pretty much you have like a very small field. These are just small fields until you actually create them to be Dantians. When you actually use the breath, sink the yi, and then sink into the postures that allow the access ways of chi to flow into it, now you have this magnetic field growing day by day by day. It could take weeks for you to actually feel it and actually get like to a certain amount where you can feel the warmth, because it is warmth. It's like it's a certain level of like hydration. It's a certain level of like yumminess and orgasm energy that when that Dantian is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and actually create an actual treasure.
Right.
But even at that 100% full, it's still not going to give you those Shaolin monk powers. You need to get to 200% full for those Shaolin powers that
And you
birth into.
everything needs to be conditioned for it too.
Yeah.
Because if you're not like doing iron fist training, you got 200 powers worth of Dantian. You may break the concrete, but you're gonna break your hand.
You probably won't get to 200 until you're until all that is actually already ready. Because at 100%, nah, bro, you're gonna be flowing like, because that much Dantian has to go somewhere. Every single time you move, that's the core of your body, so that's going that way. And so your meridians under your nervous system are strengthening and strengthening every single day.
Gotcha.
And that flows into your bones, into your fascia, under your muscles, into your sinew channels, and then your muscles, and then to your skin. And so that So when the Dantian fills up from the inside out, that's slowly sinking into the rest of your body. So before you even get to 100%, you're gonna be feeling like Superman already.
Right.
And then at 200%, that's when the iron shirt starts to grow.
It's a lot, man. I don't know.
That's it right there.
Too much.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.